So guys, I want to do something just a little different. I mean, there's a lot of channels out there that are already doing reviews of Mortal Kombat or recaps or whatever you want to call them. So I'm doing what the movie actually means to me, just from my own personal perspective and what Mortal Kombat has meant to me throughout my life. Mortal Kombat has been around since I was a kid, man. Like, I grew up with this game. I grew up with these movies. So for me, I just wanted to, kind of share with you guys, my viewers, what it means to me. And maybe in the comments you guys can tell me a few things that Mortal Kombat has meant to you and how it kind of grew with you as you got older. So as far as the movie is concerned, for me, I can tell you right now, the first time I ever interacted with the Mortal Kombat series, the game, movie, any of it at all, I was about 9 years old. And I remember my older sister, Classy, wanted to take us all to the movies to see the movie Bad Boys. It was like her husband, a couple of her kids, me, my cousin, just the whole family type thing. And I was really excited because I had never been to a movie theater before. So we walked in and we were early, like absurdly early, like an hour. So there was nothing for us to do except chill out in the lobby of the movie theater and try to wonder if we're going to be able to get snacks or popcorn or anything like that, which I knew at that point in my life with my family set up, we're not getting no popcorn, bro. Even back then in like the early 90s, popcorn was still going to cost you, for everybody that was with us, and drinks, you're probably looking at $100, $150. Just like today, it's worse. If I take my kids, as many people as she took, I'm talking about $200. So, but that's not even the point. The point is we walked in and we were there for a while. So I did what I did and what I still do to this day. I found my way over to the arcade games, and as I was taking a look, I noticed it was just showing, finishing moves and little fights. You know how the arcade games do when nobody's playing them. And I didn't have any change, and I wasn't about to ask my sister for any. So that was the first interaction, just walking up to the game and being like, man, what is this? This is awesome. Did he just, finish him? You gonna let him kill him? And I was already into video games, but just being able to interact with Mortal Kombat on that small, minute level, and then go see the original Bad Boys movie right afterwards, it was just one of those nights that has stuck with me throughout my whole life. And then, obviously, as I got older, I got my own video gaming system. Mortal Kombat became more important to me just in general. I love the early games, being able to do the back, hey, get over here, being able on Mortal Kombat 2 to turn into a dragon with Liu Kang. Once I learned how to do that, I would go to the arcade just to do that in front of other people. And it was just awesome, being able to do things that other kids didn't know how to do. And then when it got to about Mortal Kombat 4, I kind of fell off. It wasn't something that I wanted to play. They tried to go to like 3D and start expanding the story. And I think a lot of video games from the early 90s, late 80s, even into the early 2000s, they got our attention by being awesome, but having great gameplay and mechanics. And then as they started to try and venture out into other genres of entertainment, whether it be comics or trying to go off into TV shows or movies, cartoons, they had to come up with actual lore for all these characters, which they didn't really have much more than like an ending for each individual character if you beat the game. Otherwise, there was no real canon. You can't have all of them have their happy endings after beating the main supervillain or main bad guy. So you just kind of always wondered, okay, who's the main character, since all of them have a happy ending if you beat the little ladder match, whether it was Street Fighter, Tekken. Everybody has their own special ending. And then, as again, got older, the first movie comes out. It was all right. I'm not going to rag on it too much. It's we can get into that a little later in the video. Second movie comes out. We all know that was trash, but this is also around the time that Spawn came out, so we weren't getting a lot of quality CGI back then. So everybody who wants to rag on the old Mortal Kombat, it's a video game movie, man. Get the fuck out of here if you think it's going to be great. Which is why, like, the next thing I wanted to touch on was my expectations of the movie, man. Like, it's something that I was really excited about when I saw the first trailer, but based on where I was in life and the personal matters I was dealing with, I didn't put a lot of focus into it. My whole goal at that point was just trying to get through those moments and make sure my life was taken care of. So I wasn't even like super excited, but there was a rumbling inside of me that was like, man, this should be pretty exciting. If they actually do this correctly, we might actually get a good Mortal Kombat movie. So as far as my expectations, I always say undersell, over deliver. And with movies and video games, I've gotten out of the habit of trying to watch all the trailers and figure out what's going to happen, because I don't like being disappointed. And if I can avoid it without it being something that hinders me, then I'm okay with it. So I don't really watch trailers and get all excited. But for this one, I was kind of like, okay, as it gets closer, I might start to get a little excited because we'll get more information. And from the things I saw, I didn't let my expectations get out of control. The movie met whatever expectations I had. It did disappoint in some ways. Obviously, I'm with most people. I don't like the fact that this Cole Young guy is even in it. It didn't make any sense to me. You could have picked any character. You could have given us a reason to respect Stryker a little bit more than the whole fan base does right now, just by making him the main character and giving us a reason to feel like we should follow him or be emotionally invested in him. But Cole Young, again, this is from my perspective, my own personal point of view. I'm not trying to give you a recap of the movie. My issue with Cole Young is the actor whose name I didn't even take time to learn, because I've been seeing this guy in other stuff and I've just never, he doesn't do it for me. He's the, what is his name? Jai Courtney. Everybody seems to rag on him. And when I see him and stuff, I'm like, you're missing something. I don't know what it is, but you're missing something that just doesn't make you interesting to watch, no matter what character you're playing. And that's the same way I feel about the actor that played Cole Young. He was in, I believe, Into the Badlands, which was a show that I used to watch and did videos on. So I was heavily involved. And when he pops up, it didn't give me hope for the show continuing on. And then more recently, he was, in Deadpool 2. And I just noticed that by going back. But again, even though he's in one of the most funny scenes of the movie, he plays an invisible guy. No, that's Brad Pitt. But whatever character he plays wasn't that important. And it may have just been a small cameo, but it didn't add to anything for me. So when I noticed that he was going to be the main character that we follow in this movie, I did get a little disappointed. Luckily, I wasn't watching a lot of trailers, so I was like, it didn't happen until I actually went and saw the movie. I knew he was the main character. So, it is what it is. But it met my expectations on most levels. It's just on that particular subject, you could have used anybody else, man. I mean, I would have been fine following Sonya around or Liu Kang. I do like what they did with Liu Kang by making him already with Raiden, so that's something we don't have to have completely explained again. And even though this is the first tournament and we've done this before, they did it a little better. I don't like the Arcana BS, man. Like, there was never a reason for these people to have superpowers in the game. And like I said, when you have to start making the lore make sense, you have to come up with a reason for the superpowers. I mean, did they explain why Kano could punch through this animal's chest and go out the backside? Like, he had to punch through bones and everything. I just didn't know you could do that. I've never seen anything like that that's been considered realistic without saying, hey, everybody's just stronger when they're in the nether realm or something like that. I don't know. It just didn't make a lot of sense. I don't like the Arcana. When Sonya got her, she was immediately able to use her power. So it's just weird. Does everybody have that inside of them? Because this could turn into why Armageddon happens and everybody dies. You start realizing you might have a superpower in you. All you need is the dragon marker. And to get the dragon marker, you got to kill one of these champions. So everybody's in Mortal Kombat and Shao Kahn comes out on top. That could be something they do. I don't know, man. I've been spending a lot of time watching the videos on how we got to this point and all the lore, and it's crazy. But the next thing I wanted to touch on, like I said, just what this means to me. So as far as if you're not involved and this movie is the first time you've ever really interacted with Mortal Kombat, then there are a few things I think you're missing out on from being late to the party. Now, you guys who have stuck with me this far throughout the video, if you could go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think people are missing out on if they're not involved in Mortal Kombat and they don't have any real ties to it and this is their first time interacting with it. Because one of the main things I think a lot of people would miss out on is simply how cool it is when you have the moment to say, come here, or get over here. If there's a reason to say it and it actually fits and it can be funny, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, what is that from? Because they have no interaction with the game, or they've never used it themselves at a last-ditch effort to prevent yourself from losing in a match against one of your siblings or a good friend, and you pull it off and you win. And it's cool. And if you haven't been around with the game since the beginning, then it doesn't mean as much to you. Another one is, and a lot of it's just going to be sayings. I mean, Kano was hilarious in the movie, and he's created his own sayings. Fucking whoops. The fuck? Just, he was funny throughout the movie, and people are going to be quoting him until the next one comes out. But the old games, the stuff that they just can't really implement in the movies correctly, like the whoopsies or the toasty, that type of stuff where you uppercut somebody at the right time on Mortal Kombat 2 and Ed Boon pops out or whatever. It's just stuff that you don't understand unless you were alive while it was happening, which now helps me understand why old heads or old people, my parents, my aunt, Anybody older than me by like 5, 10 years is always like, oh man, you just don't understand. We're all going to say that to people younger than us because they're going to continue to get improvements until they get to a point where something bad happens. And then they'll still be saying, oh, you just don't understand. So it's cool to have those moments with Mortal Kombat. And if you haven't been there from the beginning, you wouldn't understand, like when your soul is mine, just little things like that that I've been joking around with people my age for years. And I'm sure y'all have got your own stuff. Bye Felicia's really not yours. If I'm being honest, that movie was out way before the saying became popular. It just frustrates me a little bit if I'm being honest, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Mortal Kombat. I don't know how much, there's a lot of stuff you could have missed out on if you just now getting involved and you don't know how important this is based on the fact that the first two movies were hot garbage. Like the first one was okay and it gave us that awesome soundtrack, which nobody can play anymore because you get copyright on it. I don't care. Wasn't going to play it anyways, but it's awesome soundtrack. It's the first time they had really done that with Mortal Kombat. I'm still waiting on something like Tekken, but I don't see how they can do that any justice since they can't even get something simple right a lot of times. But the last few years, we got Sonic. That was pretty good. Mortal Kombat's decent. I think there was another movie that was about video games. Resident Evil's always been kind of teetering the line between possibly being good and possibly being trash. So, they're getting better over time. That's because more people who love video games are actually involved. I think that's actually the issue with the whole Cole Young thing. Somebody who thought, oh, well, we need, somebody the audience can follow along with, doesn't realize that Mortal Kombat has a large enough following to where people who don't know about the movie are the smaller number of people. There's more people who know about Mortal Kombat and would risk their $10 or $15, whatever it is, to go to the movies on this product based on the fact that it's been around for so long. And if you do it halfway right, like the gamers actually want you to do it, then you'll have a freaking world built right there. If you do it we'll go see the second one. And then once you get past the second one without screwing it up royally, which we expect you to because it's the sequel, but if you don't fuck it up too bad, then we'll be tied in for the third one. I've seen all the Marvel movies. Not all of them are good, but I'm pot dedicated at this point. And some of you other stupid universes that you're building can't even get past the crawling stage, which is so frustrating. But that is neither here nor there. It's not what we're talking about. I guess at this point, man, I don't want to take up too much time, make this video 25 minutes or anything. So overall, if you're still with me, I appreciate it. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe. And if you do subscribe, come back and check out some of the videos. I know a lot of my subscribers aren't even the people who are watching the videos. So if you're watching and not subscribing, please subscribe. If you're subscribing but not watching, please watch. And I don't care, really. Do what you want to do, if I'm being honest. But my thoughts on this movie as a whole. I think if I had to give it some kind of rating, I would say it was a 6.8 out of 10 if we were doing like an IMDb rating. I haven't checked it on there yet, but that would be what I would rank it. It's not quite a 7. It's not going to go down in history as anything. It's definitely not an 8, but it's not a 5, 5.5. There are some parts where it was stupid, and if you're not a part of the Mortal Kombat world, not even knowing all the lore, just having some kind of tie to it from your childhood, then the movie's not going to really strike home for you. It's missing some elements for the first-time viewers. If you are a hardcore fan, you're going to have your complaints about certain things that you didn't appreciate. Death is but another portal. Then why you even let him die? I mean, here I am complaining, but also kind of excited because you got characters you done killed off, so you at least did something that means something. Nope. None of this meant anything. There was no tournament. We've just got a bunch of random fights and people are dead, but now they get to come back. So overall, yeah, 6.8 is good, but it doesn't blow your mind away. It gave me what I was expecting from a Mortal Kombat movie in the year 2021. And it was a nice relief to not have to go back and watch Tenet for the 50th time just to find something that's halfway decent and entertaining. But other than that, man, again, please, I love it when you guys leave me comments. Let me know what you thought of the movie, not even just on the video or what you thought about what I think, but just giving me your perspective on what it means to you or what where you were going through in life when you first interacted with Mortal Kombat, or your best match, your longest combo, whatever it is. I like reading that stuff. It always gives me other ideas of videos to do. But until next time, man, this is Floyd AM. Appreciate you guys. Peace. I would say it was a 6.8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.